Hi, I'm Brian at autoshopteacher.com, and in this video I'm going to talk about the cone of learning and then how I apply it in the philosophy of the way I teach at autoshopteacher.com. I first came across this when I was doing my own studies years ago, and then I found that it works really well when I taught at community colleges and then also with online and hybrid instruction. So let's get into this a little bit. These top three here at the top of the pyramid, this is really traditional learning. This is in the classroom with a PowerPoint type presentation going, and what most students get on a daily, regular basis if they're going to, say, a community college or even possibly in high school. And you can see that 10% of what is read, 20% of what we hear, and 30% of what we see is typically retained for about 2 weeks, combined 50%. So 50% of what you've read, heard, and seen in, say, your traditional lecture, classroom presentation, 2 weeks later, you're going to have about half of that knowledge retained. Well, as an instructor and business coach, I want to transfer fully the knowledge to you so that you're not, say, a month from now, after we've learned together, needing to call me. It becomes your knowledge. And so how do we take and get to that point where then it's a full transfer of knowledge that not only can be retained for 2 weeks, but indefinitely? Here in the middle, we're currently at this 50% level, right? Seeing and hearing. So that's watching a movie, looking at an exhibit, watching a demonstration, typical classroom type environment, right? Let's look now at 70%. And a lot of folks don't like to do this, but look at the dramatic step it makes from 50 to a 70% retention by saying it. So at autoshopteacher.com and in past courses I've taught in classroom, saying it back. So this would be, if you're working with me as a trainer or coach, would be then when we're having that weekly phone call or that Zoom or FaceTime meeting, and I'm asking you questions about the material that we're currently studying, can you say it back to me in your own words? Not reading it out of a textbook or off of a PowerPoint slide, but have you retained that knowledge? Can you say it back to me? I'm not saying you have to stand up and give a monologue and, present some 10-page thesis or whatever. It's not that at all. It's simply having a conversation about the being studied and being able to say it back to me. That way I can look for what the 30% that's still missing possibly at this point. Maybe you have 100% of it. Then if we're working together a few weeks down the line and maybe reintroduce that topic, hey, what do you remember about such and such? What do you remember about the cone of learning? Well, something about reading and seeing and hearing and so on. Oh, okay. Let's talk about that briefly. Saying it back to me, I'm saying it to you, we're having a conversation, we're given that talk like it says here on the blue bar, right? That is how you're going to get into long-term retention of around 3/4 of what you've been taught. So how do we get into that 90 or better or 100% and that long-term retention? Well, that would be doing the real thing. So that would be, for instance, let's say I'm coaching you as a service advisor, and we've been meeting and talking about different ideas and different strategies and things to tweak and change. Well, maybe setting up a camera in the corner of your office and just letting it run for an hour. And then we watch it together and see, what kind of progress has been made. Are you repeating and applying, saying and doing what you've learned? Or that would be if we're working together on a technical topic. Can you show me that you're taking a DVOM and testing a diode correctly? Just a couple of examples of how then that knowledge that information that we've studied together becomes your long-term knowledge. So there you go. There's a brief overview of the cone of learning and the philosophy about how I teach at autoshopteacher.com. I'm Brian D. Wampler. You can reach me at 918-689-8600 or go to autoshopteacher.com. Thanks for watching.